What's up, everybody? My name is Tim Ruswick, and today we're talking about crunch time, more specifically indie crunch time for indie games. Now, this is a hot topic in AAA. It comes up all the time about these big companies making employees work long hours, 12, 14 hours a day, or whatever it is. Some crazy stories about people sleeping there, getting stuff done, and it seems like they're taking advantage of a passionate industry. But I want to talk about some of the pros and cons that I think have to do with actual crunch time and whether or not it could be beneficial. So first of all, I just want to say that in crunch time, anything that you do in excess is bad, right? You eat too much, you get fat. Whatever you do too much, it's bad for you. Like, hands down, for physical health, for mental health, that's the way it is. So I absolutely 100% believe that crunch time, when done perpetually, when done constantly, is a horrible thing, and it definitely takes a toll on you over time. I talk about workaholism a lot on this channel. It's something that I've suffered from, and it definitely makes the burnout more real. It brings something to you that, like, just, I don't know. I've went through months and months and months of burnout, just not wanting to work on a project because I burned myself way too hard and way too hot on the crunch time, on just working on stuff nonstop. So I think crunch time is bad perpetually. But, and this might be an unpopular opinion because I know the game industry hates crunch time, I don't actually think crunch time is bad. I don't think it by itself, the idea of crunch time, is bad. Because something happens with deadlines, right? There's something happens with having to get something done in a short amount of time that really moves you forward. It's the same idea behind the Pareto principle. Actually, that's the wrong principle, not the Pareto principle. Pomodoro technique is what I'm talking about. The same idea behind that, right? If you set an hour timer, or you set 30-minute timer or something like that, and you sit down and you get to work and you time yourself and you got 30 minutes to work, you're gonna work really, really hard. And I know for me, like, I started doing random things like that throughout the day. If let's say I have to go to dinner at like 5 p.m. or something, and it's 3 p.m. Okay, I got an hour and a half before I have to leave. Let me set the timer, hour and a half, boom, go do a work sprint. That stuff motivates the shit out of me. And I don't know why, I don't know what it is about human psychology that gets me moving, but it works really, really well. And the same thing tends to happen for deadlines. I like to put my deadlines at specific events or for dates. So I've had a lot of stuff for Phallophobia that is in sections, and I get it done based on the shows that I want to go to or the festivals that I want to submit to or whatever. And that's kind of how I've done it. Like, it's a hard deadline, right? It's not a soft deadline that I can move or whatever. And yes, I tend to work harder the closer it is to the deadline because I notice, like, how behind I am and all that stuff. So that type of crunch time I actually think is positive. I think there's a benefit to that, and I think if you can do it in small amounts, if you can keep it to a minimum and just maybe near the end fix a bunch of stuff, I think that's very beneficial, and I think you can get a lot done in that period. I think crunch time gets a lot of negative press because of the fact that it's done perpetually, that it's done way too much, and it's done by a lot of industry titans that don't really care about their employees. And when you throw in the fact that a lot of these employees are salary anyway, it means that they don't actually make more money for working more, which just means they're being overworked for the same amount of pay. It doesn't make sense, and it's just corporate greed at its finest, right? So I want to make that distinction there because I think it's important. A lot of people will say, hey, how can you possibly defend crunch? It's horrible, it's bad for a bunch of people. Yes, when you do it perpetually like that from a standpoint of greed and just trying to work people to the bone, it's absolutely bad. But when you do it from an indie standpoint of trying to get something done before a festival or before a show or PAX or whatever it is, I think it can be great. It can be a great motivator. It can be a great fire under your ass to get moving. And that's kind of what I've been doing, because I've definitely been suffering a little bit of the burnout, lack of motivation a lot. I've talked about it on the channel. I definitely talked about it in live streams. And I need stuff like this to get me moving sometimes. So without some type of crunch for these milestones that I have set up, I don't think I could do much on the game at all. So those are my thoughts on Crunch. Let me know yours, because I know this is a hot topic. This is definitely going to be a topic of debate, and I would love to know your opinion. Do you think Crunch is good or bad? What context do you think either one? Let me know down in the comments, and leave me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Once again, my name is Tim Rustwick, and I'll see you again tomorrow.